Welcome to SRE Kuala Lumpur November's meetup. So did you guys enjoy the food? Is it enough? Okay, all right, thank you. So we're excited to have you guys today. Thank you for attending. So today we'll be having two speakers. Our two speakers are here, Zidan and also Raeveen. So before we kick things off, I would like to thank Seek Asia for being the venue and the food sponsor. So huge shout out to them. And also a warm welcome to all of you guys for joining us today. So this is Buzz Corner. Zidan will be presenting.
Hi guys, thank you so much for joining us. And this is Buzz Corner. Do you know what is Buzz Corner? What does it mean? It means like if you have any update, you give us the update. We usually do it ourselves, not doing it ourselves. So we ask the audience to join us. If you have done anything amazing, if you read about anything new, is it's good to tell us the updates, folks. So, did you guys read anything recently? Anything new? No? Many things are new. So yeah, don't be shy. We have actually a couple of things to give away. Um, JetBrains is actually sponsoring this as well. So JetBrains, if you don't know, is actually the company behind all the IDE like the Golang, the many other things. Python something. So they do have a lot of IDE. So they give us 3 coupons. So anybody of you can take 1 coupon and he will get a free 1 year um, subscription. So whoever give us update will take one. So want to give us some update? Anything new? Yeah.
Yeah, so those of you who have deployed your workloads on US East 1, right? So congratulations, yeah, us as well. So let me share you what the AWS IAM team mentioned, right? So if you guys don't know, one component in AWS is called your IAM, right? For all your permissioning, authorization. So there they have the STS token. So that part of their component or team is made out of 2 parts, which is the control plane and data plane. Right? So data plane is where they actually enforce the permissioning. Right? So if you were using the IAM just for permissioning during the outage, you would have been okay. But if you are doing things like assuming role or try to add new policy or add new users, that would have failed because that depends on the AWS control plane, which is linked to the Dynamo DB. So you will see that a lot of the components fail because sort of IAM or STS is like the foundational capabilities, right? So advice from the IAM team, if you see STS failing, yeah, please fail over to your other region if you have. If you don't have, then yeah, enjoy. Yeah, they did not meet their SLA. Yeah, I cannot talk about financial stuff, but yeah, they have failed their SLA. So check your service for SLA. You can ask for credits.
Thank you so much. You have 1 coupon. Just share with us your email and we're gonna share it with you. Yeah, any other things? Doesn't need to be new. You can just do it.
Oh, hello everyone. My name is Aim. Not something that's too new, but about Microsoft Direct Send. So there's a huge security loophole where if you don't disable the Microsoft Direct Send, attackers they can spoof phishing emails within your domain and act as someone within your domain. Email. Yeah. So disable Direct Send, everyone. Yeah, that was pretty much it.
so much. You will get one coupon. Just share with us your email after we finish. We have one last coupon. If you guys want to update us. Yeah, it's 1 year subscription for any IDE from JetBrain. Something new you learn. It doesn't need to be new. Something interested that you have read recently. No? No? So we still have one chance. Like we have like a lightning talk. If you want to give lightning talk in between the two talks that we have, also you have a chance to get that. And we have one more coupon actually from this is JetBrain. Yeah, we have a Docker meetup. So if you guys doesn't know about what is Docker KL Meetup, Raeveen is the founder. He will give some overview about that later. Okay, so yeah, so JetBrains, yeah, Realnex. Since you guys are missing a lot of updates, this is actually a website that give you the recent updates for the tools that you love. Basically, it's focused on the CNCF, the cloud native tools, and what is there for you. Yeah, so this is the website. This is actually when some update uh, is coming. The same day I receive a notification, and when I go inside, it gave me all the features that is related um, to that actually release. The crossplane is actually one of the graduated recently from CNCF projects. And that two bug fixes, you can go inside telling you like what is that, how to implement it, and the practical use case. So it's easy for you to learn. Then you can actually mark it as learning. And then if you learn it, you mark it as learn it, and then you complete that, and all will be in your progress. Then if you don't have time now, you can just go here and bookmark that, save it for later. So when you have time, you are driving, you are taking the LRT, MRT, you can just read it at any time. So you don't need to miss that as well, right? So that's it about that. Is actually free to use. So if you are not actually signed up, you can just browse anything anytime that you want to see what is new, what is the things that is updated for any tool. You just filter by tool. For example, Argo CD, what is recently updated or released. You can find that this one released this date. And yeah, you can read all the features from inside. Okay? Explain it. And from that, you can learn something new, something interesting. And you can sign in. You get the benefits from the bookmarks, progress check, and other things. And yeah, so we have some coupons as well. So it's the SRE 2025, it gave 90%. And one winner today, if you guys give a lightning talk, you're gonna have 100% discount. So you can have 1 year free as well. Yeah, so since we have everything here, I'm not giving update today, but there is a many things happening in the observability part, especially OpenTelemetry. So you can just filter by the category observability, for example, Logstash, Kibana, OpenTelemetry. You can see all the features or the releases. This one is actually happened last week, November 4, and has many features. It's kind of total 50 changes across all the component of OpenTelemetry collector, the exporter, the receiver, and so on. So many things are interested. So just if you have time, anytime, you can just browse it and go through that things. Yeah, I guess that's all from my side. Thank you so much. Keeping back to Europe.
Okay, thank you very much, Zidan. Okay, so do you guys know what is Open SRE Hub? Have you guys heard of it? Any idea? Okay. So Open SRE Hub is a volunteer-driven open source platform under SRE Kuala Lumpur, a place where contributors from our community and can collaborate and grow SRE-focused project together. If you are someone who loves contributing to open source, this is your chance to get involved. Yeah, so this is the QR code you can scan. Sorry. So you can fill up the Google form. Sorry, yeah. Yeah. So you can fill up the Google form and then pick which one you would like to select. Pick. Okay, are you guys done? Five, four, three, two, one. Okay, thank you. Okay, so our first session for this evening is titled From Blind Spots to Clarity, Securing Kubernetes with eBPF Observability, presented by Ahmed Zidan. He is the Senior Site SRE at Xsolla. Let's give a round of applause as we welcome Zidan to the stage. Thank you.
So the ones sitting at the back rows, can you guys please help us to move in front a bit so that we can show some volume? All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Today talk is very Yep. Hi guys. How are you doing? So today talk is very interesting, and actually I spend a lot of time to understand and try it out and hacking some Kubernetes cluster that we have. So, and it is interested because EBF is actually eBPF is actually gaining a lot of interest nowadays, especially in the observability space. And today we will do something good with that. So I'll start with the demo because it's interesting. So it's 30 minutes demo. Right, cool. 30 minutes. Just take that other side. Clear. Can you guys hear me? Okay, so can you see the screen? Yeah, so can you guys see the screen? So I'm going to show you a couple of steps, but it's not the first step. We have a Kubernetes cluster. In that Kubernetes cluster, we have one path. That path is actually not following the best practices of the security. So it has a couple of issues, and I'm able to access that path. So I'm gonna go inside that path and see what we can do or what we can hack. So today LEXE write the bad name. Then we'll go search. So I'm also searching to that path. I have the things inside. First thing I'll do, I'll just list all the files. And the interesting part here is not normal to see the host. You see that host is not actually something normal. It's not a normal directive that's coming in Linux. So what I do, I want to see what is inside. So go on the list down what is inside the host layer. Oh, just make it big. Huh? Okay. Thank you. So I'm listing all the directories inside that host, which is kind of mini data. Like we have a couple of version.json, we have many things. So I'm starting to think we have release.key, which is important, right? I'm starting to think this is actually the actual machine host. It's not actually something related to that, but the bad as I misconfigured the mount the host, which is giving me the capabilities to see everything. Now I want to check if I can go with a root and see if I'm able to go with a root, which interested. I already went as a root. So current now, I'm a root user inside the machine, not inside the bot, but inside the machine. What I can do now, many things, right? So the first thing is maybe I can just add my SSH key inside the host and then SSH to that host, and then I'm there. I'm there forever until they terminate that host. Or maybe once I SSH to that machine, I might be able to access whatever is there, like in the network, in the company network. And from there, I can access every data in the company, right? And that one possible path. But if that path doesn't work, I can do different things. I can add a persistent bot, which is static bot inside the Kubernetes, which API server will not know about it, and I will be persistent there. I have access always, and then I can have like remote access running a server from my servers, and that server is accessing that. There's something called RC agent, which is the bot will act as an agent and is waiting me to give it a command. So I don't need to access the cluster anymore. I have an open access for me. So just if we list the Kubernetes etc Kubernetes manifests. So I'm able to access the manifests. If you bought any bad configuration there, the API server will not able to see it. So kubectl, getbuds, all the namespaces, you will not see that path. And that path will be persistent always in your cluster. And the attacker can actually, as I did mention, if you have the agent, he can wait the command from his server and the agent will execute it for him. Then if I want to move any new, like if there is a secret key here in the host, right? I saw it before. So just one more time. It's already. So there is something called release.key, which is something interesting for me. I might need to transfer it to my server and see what is the possibility of doing more things. Or I can just terminate everything and go, right? So all it takes is one misconfigured bot to make my entire organization down. And let's go back to the presentation. Yeah, forget about this one. This is me. I'm good. Forget about it. So what happened to that from that actually demo? The attacker was able to find a bot with misconfigured and he was able to access the host, and from there he found like the host is mounted to the VM, and then from there, from the VM itself or from the virtual machine, he can access the entire org network, and he can take all the data that he wants, right? So that's very crucial. And why our monitoring and observability and everything that we have configured is not picking that? Because logs matrix traces is all about the application level, right? So application, there is two parts. Application is running in the user space, but everything is executed in the kernel space. Kernel is taking all the process to execute it. But our user space, which is running the application and the monitoring and everything, is there. So we have a blind point there, which we cannot see. We cannot understand anything until we do some modification there, right? Here it comes to the eBPF. eBPF is actually very light, doesn't affect your kernel, doesn't affect your application. It's a program that you write, and it will be in the kernel space. It will be hooked to one of the kernel process, and it will be there to kind of a scanner for you. Any request that will go to the kernel, it will pick it up and send it to you back in a real time. That doesn't affect your application and also doesn't affect the kernel. So all the process has its own efficient. Now, if we run that only, is useless because we need to enrich it with some metadata, right? We need to understand where is that coming from, which bud, which VM, which process, what is the command that has been run. All that is enriched from the C groups and BID. And yeah, there's many things, many signals that we can catch, but today we want to focus only on the four golden signals. Four golden signals, there is difference between this and the SRE. Who knows what is the SRE for golden signals, by the way? SRE for golden signals, observability for golden signals. We have one coupon left. Okay, so the SRE for golden signals is latency, traffic, errors, and saturation. This is from the observability part. Now we are talking about the blind spot that we want to observe. There is also four golden signals that crucial for us to see what is going on there. And that's coming from the kernel space, not from the user space. So the first one is the process execution. This one is actually any process, any executable shell, anything that you run in your command line, it will be catch in the kernel space. Then you're gonna notify, you will be notified if anything is unexpected. File access, this is very crucial, is monitor sensitive file and accessing to the host from the pod itself. We have a network socket, which is flag unusual destination. Like if you open an agent, this agent will be actually attached to that server, which is bad server. You don't know about it, and that will be communication open. That also is network sockets. So the layer 7 identity is actually enriching the network with the IP, with the bad, with the more things. We will talk about details. I'll take it one by one. The first one is the process anomalies. We have a tool called Cilium. Cilium what? I forgot. Let me just bring it here. From here. It's a Cilium something. Who knows Cilium first? You know what is Cilium? Kind of. the Celium is actually the community. They did a lot of projects. One of them is most of them is using eBPF, but one of them is actually tracing or monitoring or observing that signals that we are talking about. We just remember it. Make file. See what is inside the make file. Yeah, tetragon, tetragon, Cilium tetragon. Cilium tetragon is the tool that is actually catching every single signal that is going to kernel. So as I did mention, eBPF is actually a program that you write, which will stay in the kernel and send you the real um, tracing or the logs, right? So you don't need to write that code because we have many tools that doing that for you. One of them is Cilium tetragon. Tetragon. It's hard to remember it, but it's feeling the power like tetragon. Okay, so I have already installed that in my cluster, and just want to see. I'm exiting again from that. I'll show you now how that every single command that you type from the bot, it will be detected, catch it by the tetragon. So just make logs, just make that. I did cut something. So currently we are in the first signal, which is the process or anything that you are trying to execute, right? So I'm just deleting the bot first because the bot has some executing. Now I'll run it again. This is actually Tetragon is listening to my cluster. Anything that will go to kernel and they execute it, the kernel before kernel executing it, it will come and be logged here. Delete the bot. Okay, so that process is exit, right? When the process end is exit, a signal will be attached. It will tell you how that is being exited and so on. But I don't want to see that first. I want to see how it's been executed first. So I'll just apply that again. And then we will just take that JSON that will come to Tetragon and see how that benefits us. See, applied. Yep. Let's get something. Just take that here. Let's go to JSON something. Then let's validate it. So that process is actually started with giving us XID, execution ID, PID. Then the most important here is the things that has been enriched, right? So current now I understand is coming from namespace default, and the name of the pod is privilege pod. Then the container running with couple of things, security context privilege equal true. And I can see almost everything about that. That been detected from the kernel space, which is a powerful thing that before eBPF we couldn't do it, right? To catch everything from the kernel space and act on that is actually very, very powerful. So this is the first signal. All that signals that is if you are trying to access the file, like catting the file or vim the file, it will have another signal for you, giving you what has been run, what is the process that has been taken, what is the bud that has been run, and so on. And the network the same if you are trying to call something like other bud, trying to call the internet, or trying to call different URLs, it will be catched. And that signal is actually being utilized today by OpenTelemetry when we talk about the auto instrumentation. So we have something called auto instrumentation that can detect from your application how many call it goes outside the bud, right? That is actually coming from the eBPF, which is powerful. And that one is enriching the the network with the IP, TLS server name, and other things. Yeah, we got the signals. We understand what we need to focus on, right? We have other things, but this is the four golden signals that if you made it secure, your Kubernetes cluster will be secure. So what other things need to do? Well, we have the signals. We are observing them. What will be our next step? Any guess? Fourth? Hmm? That's good. Yes, it's one option. What is the other option? Yeah. So as we understand current now, we have something called user space and we have the kernel space, right? User space is our application running there, and we don't have any visibility about what is in the kernel space. But everything will be run, it will go to the kernel space. You run it, anybody run it, it's automatical process. Everything will be executed in the kernel space. And that's the power that we are talking about, to catch that from the source, not from user space, right? So we understand the flow now. We understand the four golden signal that okay, we'll go fast. Okay, so the first part is I got that signal. I can do some alerts, right? If someone is trying to access a secret from the host, I can catch that and do alerts on it. If someone is trying to open something from the host, which is actually not expected, I can do some alerts. The other thing is I take all that things and I define my policy. Current now, this things is telling me, okay, my application doesn't call 123. Now I can define the policies that prevent them. But how we do that? There is something called, I need to go fast because time is, okay. So something called defense in depth. What does it mean? Defense in depth? Defense in depth is me like, I will add policies in different layer. There is three layers that we have: exploitation, persistence, and then the post exploitation. Exploitation. Okay, what does it mean? So the first layer is exploitation. Before the bud run in my cluster, I will decide, do I need to deploy it or not? That's something happening in the admission control. Before the bud run, there is a validation, and there is a couple of tools that can do that. There is Open Policy Agent with OPA, we call it OPA, or Kyverno. So you add your policies in the admission control before the bud run in my Kubernetes cluster. If it's good, passing all the policies that I have, it's gonna run. If not, it's gonna be blocked. The other thing is, you remember that the attacker can do some static bud in my Kubernetes cluster, right? And that will be persistent and no one will see it. But with the capabilities of eBPF, we can catch that from the kernel space, right? So this is the persistent. What could we do to prevent that? If it already the bud is there, the hacker did something and he already installed the static bud, and this is we need to have something in this layer. What we could do, there is a couple of things. First thing, maybe we can add like a tracing policy to block any unknown host. Like if the host name is unknown for us, we block it. There is also the admission control policy. We can do something there. Cilium Titigron can do that by the tracing policies that they do have. Or the small thing that we can do is network policy inside our Kubernetes cluster. So with network policy, we can specify is the bot need to be talking to the internet or no, right? So that one thing. The last stage, like, okay, the attacker is already there. He already created the bot. He already doing the things current now. And the internet is open for him. What we could do, what we could do. Yeah, so he already has access. He is a stage two. We're supposed to cut the internet for him, but he's able to bypass that. Now he has some capabilities from that, but he can access the host, right? From the host, he can access the secret. So we could do like closing that capabilities. So we can say like, okay, this no none of the bot should access the host directly, right? So when the attacker is already on the bot, he cannot access the host, he cannot get any credential from the host. We can prevent him actually from doing some command like if we he need to copy that somewhere, right, to his server. So we can block that as well, syscalls. Yeah, that's it. So at the end is observability is journey, and you need to validate what you are doing. So we have user space, kernel space, we have the application running in the user space, the visibility that we are missing, we can get that with eBPF, and then that could send the uh, all the logs to OpenTelemetry collector, and the OpenTelemetry collector can send it to the monitoring tool. Then you can set up some alerts on that, or you can just do some analysis and define some policies that need to be in your Kubernetes cluster, and then you test it first, because this one could block your Kubernetes production cluster. No one will be able to access it, but test it first. If all good, apply it in production. And yeah, I'll go. Yeah, we don't have time, so yeah, thank you. You guys have any question? Yeah, so the bot has two things. One thing, it has the privilege escalation true, which means like it can escalate his privilege to be a root. The other things, it actually mounting the host. Yep. The default setting in privilege escalation true in Kubernetes, and the user actually is root in Kubernetes by default. So you need to change it. Yeah, you need to follow the best practices, security best practices. But yeah, better than that, you can have the eBPF to monitor that, and from there you find which bot has problem, and then you can follow the best practices, define some rules for the future deployment, so it will not fail or it will not have the same mistakes again, and you will have a good visibility. So I know current now most of the cluster that I have visited is having a lot of weird stuff, and I can hack it. But yeah, but this is a blind spot that nobody cares, because if my application running, I'm good. This is like what people say. But yeah, Kubernetes is a big thing and has a lot of attacks, and many things is an vulnerability. And yeah, you need to secure it yourself. They don't focus on security by default, but recently they focus more on security after the Nginx vulnerability and the other things. And the recent release, actually, they did block some hosts path like the slash proc. So you don't need to access it. So by default, they blocked it from the access and so on. They are doing good, but you need to follow like best practice, understand what you have, and from there you can try to enhance it. But yeah, this is a blind spot. Any other question, guys? If no, passing it to Kiro. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much, Zidan, for the insightful talk. Do you guys enjoy? Anyone want to summarize? Anyone is interested to summarize? Yeah, we have coupons. Do you guys want to? No, you don't want? Okay. All right, thank you. So next up we have hiring session. So if your company is hiring or you are personally looking for a next SRE or DevOps role, this is your moment to connect. So feel free to share your opportunities. Anyone? Anyone looking to hire?
All right. First of all, thank you for having me. Let me just get a list of what we're hiring right now. Let's see. Yeah, there is a list. That's also the second reason why I'm here. Let's see. The reason why I'm here as well is because y'all are talented people. And obviously, you're the best at what you do. So I come from Sitecore, okay? I'm just going to Google while talking. So I come from Sitecore. And in Sitecore, it depends on your manager. If you have a good manager, what office? If you have also a good manager, they would ask you to come to the office every day. So I can't talk bad about my managers. So they're all good. All right. So anyone here fresh graduates? Okay, cool, perfect. There's a associate software engineer in my organization. And then we do have cloud operations. We have cloud, I don't know, cloud operation, cloud engineer. There's still cloud there. Yeah, I got a bunch of lists, GRC people, and so on. So if you need a job, just come to me. I'll refer you. Any questions so far? If you ask me, I haven't been to the office for like a month now. So I would occasionally go there, grab some snacks, and disappear. Oh, Sidecar does a lot of things. So it's basically a marketing, it's all marketing. It's like a marketing tool, actually. The clients are Khazana, Petronas, even though they lay off people. Petronas is some of our clients. A lot of government agencies are our clients as well. We do have clients in Dubai. We have clients, we're all over the world. We have clients in all over the world. Everybody's our client. Me, I'm a cloud infra engineer. My day-to-day job is very peaceful. It's so peaceful that it's depressing. So that's why I'm here. So yeah, it's sad. Like I wake up, I look at the screen, and then I close, and I'm like, okay, oh, money. Yeah. So that's my job. Any questions about my organization so far? Oh yeah, we do offer 18 days of PTO. Well, that you need it anyway. And we do have work from anywhere as well. So we have 2 weeks of work from anywhere. Let's say you're flying to Japan and you want to work in Japan. Yeah, sure, why not? Be in the office for within those 2 weeks. Yeah, you can work in Japan, you can work in the US, it's up to you. Regarding pay, um, we pay our interns 2,000 ringgit. So that should be a baseline. Intern 2K. So now you know where to go. Okay, you can start calculating from there. Yeah. Maybe make sure you know how to, yeah, I should be polite. You should speak what the interviewer wants to hear. Mm. Manipulate, no, negotiating skills. Okay. Yeah. Any more questions about my organization? Are we sponsoring Visa? Maybe. If you're better than the locals, sure. Okay. Oh yeah, thank you so much. I forgot the technicality. The job is so peaceful. I forgot about actual work. So we're Microsoft based, .NET. It's mostly .NET, but no worries. There's the usual boring burn stuff. Though the current economy nowadays is all AI this, AI that. I hope the bubble bursts soon. Yeah. Any more questions? None? Please come to me if you want a job. Okay? It's so peaceful. Depends on your manager, yeah. I'll put a disclaimer right there. I have the best manager in Eastern Europe because he's from there, so. What? Alive? My life? Oh yeah, hi. If you need a job, don't look for me. Yeah. But yeah, my manager is like the best in Eastern Europe, but I think he's transferred to Canada now. I don't know where he is. Actually, nobody knows where everybody is. So yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think that's it. Okay, thank you. What? No, 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 no. We are a marketing company. You can search on LinkedIn, Sitecore. The website is so good that everybody's, AI this, AI that. I'm just sick of it. But yeah, AI.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Siraj. So, anyone wants to? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Hello, everyone. I'm from SIG. I'm the engineering director at SIG. So after he did the pitching, I thought I need to outdo him for all the things he has been saying for the last round, but I'm not going to. So SIG, as you know, it's a career platform. Our teams are regional based. So one of the advantage you have is regardless, if you join in engineering, regardless, your team member will be Hong Kong based or Melbourne based. There's no specific location you need to be at, right? So we are hybrid, irrespective of which manager you have, you are hybrid. So we make sure there's a bit of consistency in that bit. But there are options in terms of, you get 4 weeks, you can work from anywhere and all that. So I'm not going to go to those benefits. I think when you go to the career website, you can see there are different roles right now. In terms of engineering teams, there are only a couple of roles we did a bit. We were quite successful in the last few months in terms of hiring. That being said, there are certain very specific niche skills roles in terms of dev productivity, web platform, or design system. So you can have a look at a website. We have also a senior IC role in terms of senior staff. Also, you can have a look at a website. I'm just checking other teams. So there are a bit of roles, there is some role around platform specialists and all that. So I would encourage you to go to the SEEK website and see there are data scientist roles, a lot of data engineer roles as well. So go to our website and have a look at it. If you're interested to knowing about SEEK more, can reach out to me or connect with me at LinkedIn. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Is there anyone else hiring? No? Okay, thank you so much, Siraj and Lavinia, for sharing those opportunities. So if you guys would like to know about the roles, you guys can meet them after the event. Hopefully they'll be there. Okay. So moving on to our second talk for this evening. So it's called Serverless LLMs Zero Fuss Docker Model Runner on AWS Lambda. So this talk is delivered by TS Raeveen Pasupathy. He's the Deputy Manager of DevOps at Bank Islam. So let's welcome Raeveen with a round of applause.
All right, so here we have the podium. I don't need a clicker. Okay, cool. So you guys see something blue here. You see some Docker branding over here and all that. I'm not from Docker. I am a Docker captain, so which means I can use all these things. Okay. So we will come into that shortly at end of my talk. And I'll give you guys something that we are actually building, which actually Zidan spoke about it a little bit just now. He showed you guys a glimpse of it. I will show you guys a bit better. I'll speak to you guys as well. So my name is TS Raeveen. So TS, not Tansri, is a technologist. Okay, so I'm an AWS community builder and I'm from Bank Islam and I am also a Docker captain for Malaysia. All right, one of the 3 captains. So, well, before that, everyone in previous, before I came in here, before I stepped here, people said AI, AI this, AI that. I was a bit sad because AI can do more things, even more things. All right. And I'm not here to tell you what AI can do, but I will tell you how to enable yourself to use AI cheaper. And at the same time, you can use it for your own environments, your dev environment, your staging environments. I will not tell you to use production yet, but use it with your own discretion. All right. And with the name itself, you guys will be like serverless LLMs. Then why is my company paying for Bedrock? Why is my company paying for this, paying for that, and then running it on a huge EC2 machine to just do inferencing and all these things? Why? Well, that is a different question. I'm not a AI ambassador. All right. So, okay, introductions about what we're going to do today. All right. So running LLMs in the past has been a problem. People will be like talking about money, money, money. Yes, I also love money. And I love not to spend money as well. That's why most of my talks is all running about AWS Lambda and to make sure that I pay less than $1 or less than $5 per month. Okay. And with this solution, it's the same. I pay less than $5 per month compared to hundreds of dollars, maybe thousands of dollars. You know the price, all right? And with AWS, they would just shave your bank account down, all right, to literally having no hair. All right. So yeah, running LLMs on Lambda are basically easy. All right. What do I mean by easy? Because if you go on GitHub right now, you would find no solutions available outside anywhere in the world on running LLMs on AWS Lambda. No solutions. You can check it right now. If you don't trust me, just go to github.com/search and search. All right, you will not find any. Maybe it's my repository. By the way, I'm Inspector Gadget on the internet. So if you find something called Inspector Gadget, that's me. Okay, don't say suddenly you'll be like, hey, I found something. Inspector Gadget actually said that. That's me actually. All right, and of course, running on cloud. All right, we also want to have the privileges of not babysitting servers. Sometimes we may hate babysitting. Sorry for the people who have kids. All right, but then I don't yet. So in this case, babysitting servers is not a fun thing. Yes, you can babysit babies. All right, it's fun as you can see as they grow and all these things. But then when you babysit a server, in the end you're still paying money. All right, and you're still crying when you're paying the money at the end of the month. All right, and of course with cost and everything, here comes LLMs on serverless platforms, right? Because we want to ensure that we get the most performance out of the price we pay. Even if you pay $1 per month for your entire AWS Lambda cost, but we want to reach 101% of the performance. That 1% is, you cannot achieve that extra 1%, but some people, they can try, even like myself. We squeeze maximum as we can until AWS cries and tells us, don't use us anymore. All right. Then, of course, with my usual way of doing things, all right, I do all these R&Ds behind the scenes, outside of work, of course. So when I do my R&Ds, I found out that it's actually possible. And of course, sooner or later, you'll see MCP on AWS Lambda soon. So yeah, so is this a wishful thinking? Running LLMs on serverless platforms like AWS Lambda is actually not. Okay, I'm here to tell you that it's not. It's easy. Okay. All right, so this is just an architecture, a high-level diagram. All right, so you basically would have your engineer over here who builds an image to Docker images or any container images, as long as it's OCI compliant. And then it pushes to Amazon ECR, Docker Hub, or GHSR, whatever, okay, whatever registries you may have. Okay, then after that, it gets pushed into AWS Lambda or pulled by AWS Lambda, and you basically run it. But there's something I didn't tell you. Okay, engineer, I'm the engineer. I build a Docker image, sure. Okay, I'll just do a from, I'll just a copy, this and that. But what am I copying? What am I building? Okay, what is that secret sauce? It's like you go to Nando's, you try to look at the sauce that they have, which you may, I mean, like myself, I love their sauce. So I'll be like wondering, how do they actually do this? When I try to do it at home, it's like it goes nowhere near that. Okay, it probably, if you give it to the dog will just suicide after it eats that. All right. So in this case, what is that secret sauce? So which is something I will show you guys today, the secret sauce. All right. Then from the secret sauce, you guys can make your own Kenny Rogers if you guys like. Okay, then of course, when you build the image gets pushed to ECR, then of course your Lambda pulls that image, and then the user from outside of the entire network, if you have a public facing Lambda function, they will be prompting and the Lambda will respond them back in response streaming. Okay, so in Lambda functions, something that API gateway has been a thing that everyone uses it for a long time. It was there for a long time. Then recently AWS came up with something called function URL in AWS Lambda. But if you notice something, function URL has an option called as response streaming. It actually has that. By default, it's called as buffered, but then you have to go to the settings and enable response streaming, and your responses from LLMs will be streamed directly live. Okay, so that is that. API gateway don't have that capability. It's very transactional. You hit it once, it comes back to you. If it doesn't come back to you within 30 seconds, you're done. You're out. So that is how that works. Okay, so in this implementation, we'll be using function URL. We will never go near API gateway because, as we know, API gateway can get expensive if it goes above a specific threshold. Okay, and knowing these solutions, you may or may not have many requests coming in, because more than 1 million requests, you probably hit it, and then your bank account will also hit the roof. All right. So all right, next one, how it all works. So we are going a little bit into the secret sauce. What happens behind the scenes? So the first one here is that your models can actually either be a part of Hugging Face, you download it as a GGUF file, or you have your models listed in Docker Model Runner or Docker AI. Okay, Docker now has an AI catalog, just like how you have your Docker, your normal Docker images, your registries and all these things. They also have an AI catalog, which we are all allowed to push, not just me, all are allowed to push. Okay, so you can either have a GGUF file if, let's say, you are building your own LLMs and all this, you're training your own LLMs, you export out a GGUF file, you can basically run with that file, your entire LLM. You don't specifically need to have Llama, Tiny LLM, or whatever, small LLM, all these different funny names they have. All right. The second one is that the AWS Lambda runtime adapter. So the runtime adapter is the most important thing in this entire solution. The runtime adapter gets to transmute the entire request. It actually does a live translation of the request into something AWS Lambda can request. AWS Lambda can interpret. Okay. One thing to note for you guys is that I have reverse engineered Lambda, and you can see the source code of Lambda in GitHub also. It's also available. It's called Firecracker. So it's a micro VM that actually runs behind the scenes in Lambda. It's very lightweight. All right. So what happens is that micro VM in AWS Lambda is that it within itself, if you have a Docker image or if you have your zip file or whatever deployed on the cloud, within itself, it speaks on port 9001. Okay. Only when it gets out of the Lambda, either API gateway, function URL, or whatever, then is the only time where it uses port 80 or 443. Okay. So what can we deduce from here? Outside of AWS Lambda, as the container, okay, outside of the Lambda is secured, HTTPS and all these things. But inside the Lambda, it is not. There is no such thing as HTTPS inside the Lambda. Okay, so are you end-to-end encrypted in terms of your transactions and all that? I'll let you think. This is being live streamed. Okay, so that. So number 3 is that example, Lambda functions you can only write things like any files you want to have in the Lambda functions in the TMP folder. Unless you attach an EFS drive directly to the Lambda, then of course you can upload your files or change your files in the mount directories. Okay, but in this case, we don't want to mount anything because, as I told you, I want to go cheap. Okay, I have to be cheap. So I'm not going to have any EFS. I'm going to have this entire LLM in one AWS Lambda. And you'll be wondering, wait. Lambda has a threshold, like how much we can store, the ephemeral storage of AWS Lambda. Okay, but we're not going to change any of that. Who changes all that? We can just build an image. Okay, so this is all loopholes. So yeah, so in this case, when we build a Docker image, we set an environment variable called XDG runtime dir. So this XDG runtime dir is not documented anywhere in AWS Lambda documentation or anywhere on the internet. How did I find it out? Reverse engineer. Okay, that is the only way you do all that. All right, so there's this one important thing. So when you run the model runner, which is the inferencing server that you can have from Docker itself, of course, you can also use Olama. I have also made a talk before this, I think I was at Moneyline, about Olama, running Olama and Lambda. So that one is the old one. We go for a new one, and we always go for something shiny. Okay, so in this case, when you have the XDG runtime dir, right when you start inferencing a model, it adds a PID file in the local directory. Of course, as I told you, anything outside of the TMP folder is not writable, it's only readable. So how is it going to add that PID file? Are you going to make the PID file locally and then push it to the cloud? No, it's not going to work. You'll definitely have a mismatch because you don't even know what group ID, what UID Lambda functions are using. Okay, although you can set that with Docker images, but usually it gets overwritten, right? When you run your Lambda functions with a image itself, a container image. So in this case, we have to set the XDG runtime dir environment variable to /tmp so that you are forcing every temporary files to be created in the TMP folder. Either is a PID, either is a cache, either whatever it is, all to be stored in the temp folder so that it works. Okay, so DMR is the short form name of Docker Model Runner, DMR. Okay, if you are using Docker Desktop right now, if you have it installed on a machine, you already have DMR. You just need to know how to prompt it. You can enable it, of course, it's free, by the way. Okay, and the last one is Docker Model Runner or any inferencing server behind the scenes. Internally, they use a specific port called 12434. Okay, 12434 also needs to be exposed. But you guys can ask me, how? Lambda only supports 80 and 443. There's no TCP ports. It doesn't support TCP. How are you doing this? As I told you, inside of Lambda functions, okay, there is a completely different network than the network we can see outside in the console. It's a completely different one. So within a Lambda function, you can expose any ports, even UDP, even TCP, whatever ports you can, just expose it as much as you want. But when it goes out of the Lambda function, you need to map it back. This is where the Lambda adapter comes in, the runtime adapter. So the runtime adapter is like injector, you tell the person, inject there. And then right when they inject you, then they push in the medicine to you. Medicine, okay, medicine. All right, so that is exactly how it works if you look into theoretically, all right? Of course, it's not the whole picture because the whole picture gets way more complicated. It's way more complicated. Initially, when I tried to do all this, it took me 6 months to figure out how to do all of this. So it's not very straightforward. It will ruin your brain. That's why anyways. So yeah, so in this case, when you do that port mapping, you actually get it to proxy it. So either API gateway or Lambda function URL gets to fetch, read and write responses like headers, writing headers, getting headers, and all these things can be happening. So it needs that port in the container to be mapped to. So port 80 will map to 12434. So it can map to any other ports. Just that you're exiting when your request or response actually exits the Lambda function, it will come up at port 80 or 443. But internally, there's a magic. Even the AWS Lambda default runtimes like Python, whatever runtimes they have, Node.js and all that, they don't use port 80. It's custom built. They use a different port that you don't even know. How do you find out what port they use? Just deploy a completely new Lambda function, print out all your environment variables in the Lambda. You'll find out. Okay, it's not going to be the same. It's called HyperKit or something. It's called Hyper. They use Rust behind the scenes. So they have the Hyper module behind the scenes that actually does all that manipulation. So yeah. So this solution that I'm going to share with you guys today, what does it solve? Right? The first thing is that this solution would save organizations hundreds of dollars because every organization wants to save money, okay, so that they can not hire people, all right, where they can maybe hire people as well, all right? So even save you some dollars when it comes to example, if you want to do your own POC or own things, just do that, Let's say you want to use that LLM, you want to try it out just for yourself. This is a better way. You don't have to spend much money. Okay, $1, $2, you're done, okay? And when you don't use it, you don't pay for it, all right? And Of course, the second one is supports dynamic models. So you can use any models, but make sure that they are in the Llama architecture. Okay, every LLM models, they have architectures. Okay, you cannot use all the models because even Docker model runner or something like that, they only support Llama. They don't support anything else. Example like Quen or anything more than Quen actually. All right. Now, the third one is Docker model runner is actually a container image, and behind the scenes of the container image is actually using AL 2023. AL 2023 means something that you guys probably use every day. Amazon Linux 2023. Okay, that is exactly it. The container is actually running on AL 2023. Okay, yes, it's confusing. I know some people already like question mark on the head. Okay. The next one is that you pay, I mean, this is the scaling, right? So example, when you don't use it, you don't pay for it. You only pay for what you use. Just like what AWS always tells us, is the tagline, you pay for what you use. That's why you're in AWS Lambda. All right. Number 5 is you pay for inference, not for idle infra. So if no one is using it, you pay no single cents. But of course, if there are someone DDoS you or something, they try to send in request, then good luck. And if you go to AWS support and tell them, they'll be like, what do you have inside? Then you tell this entire thing that I'm showing you today, they'll be like, no, we're not going to give you refunds because you're breaking the rules of, you're breaking the terms of Lambda or whatever, you know, how it works. And even if you ask help from the support, which I did, I even bought enterprise support just to ask help from them. And they said they don't have no idea what's happening behind the scenes. It's waste of money. Okay. It's all learning, right? So you guys don't do it again. All right. Next, number 6 is you deploy any models with 0 boilerplate. It's very simple actually to deploy a new model, which I will show you guys shortly. And then the last one is unified deployment. So if I give you this entire repository to deploy on your AWS account, you change nothing. Just run a command, you are done. Everything just works as it is. Okay, and of course, when you have your Docker model runner on your local machine, you also get to choose. Example, you know, you can run it basically on Lambda, ECS, EKS, or even your local Docker. You know, as long as you have the file, just run a command, you have the same setup on a local machine as well. Just not Lambda, of course. Yeah, it's a container. All right, just a demo, very blue. You know, I want to give you guys RGB. I have the B here. I'm losing the R and G. All right. All right, so now we are here. All right. So I'm actually going to show you guys a demo using an UI, basically open web UI. That's all it is. Okay, because I want to give you guys a UI experience. Okay, and it's very simple. It's just a Docker Compose file. I'm exposing to port 8081 on my local machine. Within the container is 8080 lah. But that doesn't matter because it's not my image. I'm just using from the environment. All right. So if you look into model runner over here, you see a few Go packages, few Go files. Oh, that is our 2FA. It needs to be. All right, let me do that. Share whole screen. Cool. Okay, so here we have a simple Docker file. All it has is just the open web UI and then all this normal stuff that you guys usually do. Okay, in the local machine, I'm exporting to port 8081. I mean 8181, and in the container is 8080 lah. But that doesn't matter, just small stuff. The most important here, the megalodon here is these guys here. So there is a folder called model runner. Docker model runner is open source. It's on GitHub. It's on github.com/docker/model runner. So it's literally there. So this is just a copy of that lah. It's just a copy of that, but something's tweaked. Okay, so that it can work on our Lambda. Okay, because you know we are also software engineers. We like to break things and change things to make things work for us. Okay, so there's only one thing I changed. So example, you see this label, right? So when you run Docker model runner on a local machine from a Docker desktop user interface, you won't see any containers being launched on the local machine. Even if you run Docker PS, it won't show. Okay, but I mean, I'm not sure if any of you guys know this or not, you can actually hide containers from your entire machine by just adding this one label. You add this one label, the container runs on your machine, yes, but you can hide it. I'm not asking you to do that from any of your colleagues' laptop because you guys can be using it for proxy or something like that. Okay, but it's good to know. Okay, please. This is live recorded, so I have proof. Please use it in your own discretion. All right. At any point of time, SRE Kuala Lumpur do not condemn. I mean, we do not support hacking or whatever. All right. So yep, there you go. So you basically have the entire model runner, but I don't care about Docker's model runner. I only care about that one line. But then anything else, I don't care. I don't have to change anything. Okay. So here, when you go into the Docker file that I built, along with Docker model runner, a call, along with everything else is this. This is the entire heart and soul of the entire implementation. So the first one is inspect the gadget 12. Inspect the gadget is me once again. 12 is I have no choice. I had to choose one number, so I went for 12. Okay, and then there's a Lambda runtime adapter that I have it on my Docker Hub. I do update it once in a while. Okay. So in this case, so this Lambda adapter is the one. It's actually built on Rust, and it's actually a reverse proxy of how AWS works behind the scenes. It's basically doing a reverse proxy with AWS. It's basically something like, I mean, I don't know how to explain. I may not get flagged or something. So yeah. And then the next one is Docker model runner. So this model runner image is actually on Docker Hub as well. And we want to pull as latest as possible. At the moment, 0.009 is latest at the moment, but it can change. All right. It is not really LTS yet. I mean, it's not really stable yet. Okay, so the next one is we need to inject the AWS Lambda itself, the Lambda adapter, into the OPT folder so we can have an extension out with AWS Lambda. This allows AWS Lambda to do extra things that it cannot do initially. Okay, it's like doing it's like doing special services for you. Okay. All right, next one is AWS LWA pod. So this is the pod that I told you. So inside of AWS Lambda, the container itself, I'm going to expose a pod. The LWA pod, whenever you see AWS underscore LWA, this means that I want API gateway or function URL to actually ping that pod and get the data out of the pod. Okay, it's like listening. It's like a listener inside of Lambda. Okay, and then the next one is TCP, of course. So define, you can also use UDP, no problem with that. You can also use UDP, but of course, that pod is basically TCP pod lah. Next one is env models path. So this is inside of the container itself. When the container is running, or when you build your Docker image, where is your models are going to be at? Where are your models going to be at? So it's going to be in the /models folder inside of the container. Next one is going to create all that folders, of course, with the normal stuff. And then we're going to copy the local models. So you can also copy your local GGUF models, or you can download a local model from Docker Hub, and you can also push that directly with your image. Why am I doing that in the image? Wouldn't the image be big? Yes, it'll be big. But as long as it's lesser than 10 gigs, you're good to go. Of course, your price will increase for ECR. Another use case for this, another way to counter this is use EFS. Push your files, push your models to EFS, let your Lambda read from EFS. So any new deployments you do, any subsequent deployments will run fast because your image is very small. All right. Next one is we're going to just use that root. You see that user root, the Lambda the container has root permission because in order for you to write in XDG runtime dir, this is basically overwriting how Lambda functions work. So you need root. And Lambdas usually don't give you root initially. You have to force it. Okay, so, and we're going to do a chmod of 755, and then later on, we'll switch back to the user call model runner. Okay, this is just for security. We're going to change from root to model runner just a few minutes or few seconds, then we come back. Okay, next one is work dir is going to be by default be in temp, and then we're going to set the tmp dir to temp as well. And then lastly, xdg runtime dir, and we're going to expose the pod. And we're going to run the sh file with lc exec model runner serve. And just like that, it works. It works. Just deploy the Lambda function. You'll see that script over here that I use to deploy. It's called deploy.sh. So this is all it does. It just creates a Lambda function, and then it's going to push it to ECR. It's going to log into ECR, whatever. That's all it's done. Okay. So now, from the models part. So here we have a lot more things. Example, when you go to models or JSON, you would find that I have a model called inspector gadget 12 tiny llama, quantized for KM. So this is a model that I built as well. It's actually from a GGUF file. I actually did the fine tuning, and then it's quantized to 4 bits. Okay. Next one is AI small LLM. So this is basically from the Docker AI catalog. All right. It's also quantized to 4. And then there's another one called the Big Megalodon, AI/Llama 3.2. Okay, so this is a huge model. This one thing is actually a huge model. So these 3 models were actually being able to push to Lambda. Isn't that fun? Isn't that cool? You can try many things out. So of course, this has a lot more things to improve. And as we go on, we will improve slowly. And I think what is not appropriate right now is we should go for a demo. Okay. So as I told you guys, I'll be using a user interface. So it's going to be a localhost 8181. All right, 8181. So my username is not that. It doesn't need a real email, by the way. All right, we're in. Okay. So over here, if you see, right, the Lambda is already deployed. So if I go to the AWS console, the Lambda is already there. So how do I prove it further to you? I don't know what is this side thing anyways. Okay, so I click on that. I go on settings, then I click on admin settings, and then I see something called connections. You can see it over here. HTTPS, blah, 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 Lambda dash URL, on AWS engines, Lambda, CPP, V1. So this is not connecting to anything else. I'm not scamming you. I'm not suddenly connecting to Docker model runner and saying, hey, I got something working. Okay, it's directly going to the Lambda function itself. Okay, so there's nothing else. I don't even have Olama API, and I don't even have model runner connected. But if I go into the models page over here, you can see that this is all the models that I showed you just now. That was in JSON. Now it is in here. That can be easily queried now. You can query these models out now. Okay, you have your quantized models and all that. So now let's do a chat. So here you can choose any models as you like. Maybe let's try Llama 3.2. Okay, because we are cool like that. So we're going to do a hi. Okay, then we're going to wait for a while because it has cold start, and you can counter cold start in many ways, of course. So you're just going to wait for a while. It's going to come back to you, and then hence that is your entire implementation of this. And as you ask more questions, there you go, it replied back to me. So as you ask more questions, it gets a bit more faster because cold start. Okay, then of course, if you let it die, then it dies again. Then you have to talk to it again and ask something. Okay, you can ask it to be rude, maybe be rude. Tell me a joke. So let's wait for it to be rude to us. Then that actually shows us, that actually gives us a green light to move forward and the entire presentation. All right. So sometimes you need all that. Like you are getting rude responses from an LLM, and you don't need something else. Since you ask something rude now, it's now going to go through all its parameters. So as the model size increases, now it's there. Here's a joke for you. You are so annoying. I'm starting to think you're actually a sock that is lost in soulmate. Did you get it? Yeah. So that is that. So the LLM has written back to us, and you can of course lock in like maybe MCP servers if you have an MCP server running on a machine or running on cloud, which the next talk, hopefully I'm not sure, either with SRE or Docker Kuala Lumpur, or we'll do MCP on Lambda. It'll be quite fun. Okay. So, and it's going to be built, MCPs are built on Golang. So it's going to be also fun. All right. I think that is pretty much it. But I have one thing that I want to show you guys. Okay. Is the usual stuff if this thing loads. Okay, the key takeaways, right? So the key takeaways from this talk is that, you scale to zero, basically, it's a real saving, okay? You only pay for what you use, okay? Keep it small to go fast, okay? Of course, when you use EFS, it's even more smaller, and you can actually deploy things fast, way fast, okay? And serverless is not scary, although it can be scary initially because you need to do all this R&D work. You'll be like, no, I give up, man. I give up trying to break a laptop on your head. So, but no, when you guys figure it out, you guys will just master it. And whatever you guys do, like running WordPress on Lambda, running Olama on Lambda, running whatever on Lambda, just be easy for you after that. And you can tell to your boss, like, hey, you guys spend $100, $300, but see, $2. Okay. Then, pods and sockets matter. So the sockets are very important when it comes to implementation like this. You get it wrong, the entire thing is wrong. Then even if you go to ChatGPT will just blabber and tell you, go check that, but the thing doesn't even exist. Okay, then you'll be like, what to check? Then ask you to go to check another thing. That thing also doesn't exist. Okay, it's like an entire, it's like a spiral you go through. Next one is match architectures. So this Lambda function is deployed on ARM64. Okay, which is a bit cheaper. I know we also want to be a bit cheaper. Next one is good for spiky and moderate workloads. Yeah, this is not a GPU replacement. I'm not asking you if your company bought GPU servers and all that things. Ditch that server, sell it back. We're going to go on Lambda. We're going to rely on CPU. No, okay, this is not a GPU replacement. All right, and it's operationally light. You can just Terraform it, or you can just run a script and then you're done. All right, so that is that actually. So a bit of, thank you. And if you guys want to copy the code, GitHub repository is there. Inspect the gadget. So you guys can scan the QR code, and thank you. Terima kasih. Yes, and while you guys scan this, I will also, after this, we'll go into Docker, a little bit on Docker. Okay, we are not done yet. How many of you guys love Docker swags? Wow. So, I mean, you guys know the drill. Kahoot, please. All right, so we have that. So a quick one. So I am actually leading Docker Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. Okay, it's a meetup group that is kind of new right now. Okay, just maybe a month old. It's a baby right now. Okay, although we had our first event back in April with Microsoft Malaysia, we had an AI hackathon in Malaysia. So that was the first initiation with Docker, with Malaysia, with companies in Malaysia. So you guys can, this goes directly to LinkedIn. It doesn't go to anywhere else. Just scan it off. Okay, we are planning to have events every month. And who knows, with Zidan's help, we'll get it partnered. We'll have a partnered event next month with SRE Kuala Lumpur. So, yep. So that is all actually for Docker Kuala Lumpur. And Docker Kuala Lumpur is actually ambassador-led community, that just like everything else, AWS user group and all that. So only Docker captains are running this. Of course, we do have volunteers and all these things within the normal things that you guys go through. So yeah, and this is actually a registered community group with Docker US. So in this case, whatever we give you, example, like if it is a new feature that is yet to be released at Docker desktop, we will let you guys know first earlier. And then of course, then you guys will get to use it when a release comes out. Okay, there's a lot of perks, of course, not forgetting swags. Okay, we will have a lot of swags. And that's what Docker told us. You know what, if you want swags, just ask me, we will just give it to you. Okay, it comes all the way from the US. All right, you pay no fees. It just comes to your doorstep. Just make sure you open the door and take it. Okay, so yep, that is that. So the next we will go into Kahoot. If anyone, does anyone have any questions for me? Any questions here? Anywhere? Yes. No. Well, I wish. Correct. It's pure CPU. Yes. It's purely running on CPU. Yeah. So yeah. Which, who knows, maybe Lambda introduces GPU in the future. We never know. So, yep. Yes. 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 That is all it is. Yep. Yes. Yep. But it's usually used for development purposes. Example, when you want to try things out on your local machine, you won't be able to see it. You will be able to run Docker Compose up, but then you'll be like, where did it up? You can't even see it anywhere. Just an hour. Actually, if you just follow the documentation, I mean, actually building the image is quite fast depending on your machine, and uploading to ECR, it also depends on the network. So if all that is good, then you can get it running if maybe within 30 minutes for the first time. Then for the subsequent times, of course, there's about image caching, right? So in this case, it'll be a bit faster. Yep. Any questions? In a Kubernetes environment, yes, you need to. Yes. 10 gigs. 10 gigs is the biggest. Yes. Yes. Yeah, correct. Hopefully AWS allows more RAM. Yeah. Yeah. We deploy a machine to the cloud. We deploy a machine to production.
Okay, thank you very much, Raven, for the insightful talk. So, do you guys enjoy? Yeah, okay, thank you. Okay, so next we'll be going to cloud games. Do you like games? Do you guys like games? You guys will be getting swags, Docker swags, JetBrains, right? So let's get started. Sadly, I just graduated, so my student email is no longer active. So you guys need to scan the QR code? No. The pin, I guess. So take your phone. Please join the game. If you guys would like to win nice swags. Yeah, wait, Hmm. So please scan the QR code, or you guys can just type the game pin and join. We have 20 participants, I guess.
Anyone else haven't joined? Scan it, guys. If you guys have multiple handphones, you know, we want to increase the luck. Wait. All right, so we're gonna start in 4, 3. I think all done. Are you guys done? Yeah. All right, cool. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There you go. Enjoy, guys. Have fun. What is a common risk caused by misconfigurations? Misconfigured Kubernetes node. Reduce CPU performance. Yes. Yeah, I just gave the answer. Well, the right answer is granting attackers access to cluster internals via elevated port privileges. That we call it a scam. All right, next one. Let's see. Podium. Same. All right, number 2. What is the main goal of the SRE Kuala Lumpur community? promote open source collaborations and reliability best practices, build commercial observability tools. That's what you do, right? Open SRE Hub offers managed SRE services, organize cloud certificates for developers. We do that as well. Yeah. Yeah, such a scam. So the right answer is promote open source collaboration and reliability best practices. 14 of us got correct. Zaim. What is the focus of the Open SRE Hub initiative? Monetizing open source projects, yeah, it goes to our pocket. Stripe. Organizing vendor partnerships, providing a paid observability platform, yeah. Centralizing community-led SRE tools and collaboration. If you guys heard it right, you guys know the answer. The right answer is centralizing community-led SRE tools and collaboration. Yes, I mean, we don't monetize things, all right? That is against our policies. All right. The next one is, yeah, Zayem is still there. But people are catching up to him, though. Who presented serverless LLM zero fast Docker model runner on AWS Lambda? If you guys got this wrong, I do not know what to say. Yeah, man. I do not know. If you guys got it wrong, I do not know what to do. Perfect. Thank you, guys. This is just the beginning. We have more. Exactly. There'll be harder ones coming up soon. In Docker model runner setup, which AWS service enables dynamic mounting? CloudWatch, yes. Code deploy, Amazon S3, EFS. I think it's S3, guys. S3 with directory buckets. You guys can directly attach. It works like an EBS drive. The answer is Amazon EFS. Some people actually use S3. Did you guys trust me? Oh, Michael. All right. Which environment variable allows Docker model runner to write temporary files on Lambda? Lambda temp. Temp path. XDG runtime. AWS cache dir. AWS don't approve. All right. XDG runtime dir. Who selected Lambda temp? Interesting. All right, Michael. Someone's catching up though. Why scale to zero important in a serverless LLM deployment? It keeps resources running 24/7. Why not, right? Improves GPU throughput. It reduces API latency. It eliminates cost during idle period. Very easy for you guys. There'll be 2 questions that is something that you cannot ask. Congratulations. It eliminates cost during idle periods. All right, Michael. Number 8. What type of workload best fits model runner on AWS Lambda? Constant GPU training? Why not, right? Cheap. Spiky and moderate inference loads? No. Low latency real-time games? Yeah, maybe. We can play CSGO. Large-scale batch processing. The right answer is spiky and moderate inference loads. Podium? No changes, but it's neck to neck though. All right. In Kubernetes, what happens if a deployment's replica set is manually scaled? Da-na-na-na. The manual change persists until a pod restarts. The cluster autoscaler overrides both value. The deployment controller reverts it back to the desired replica count. The replica set detaches permanently from deployment. I think the replica set detaches permanently, right? Because you changed something. The right answer is the deployment controller reverts it to the desired replica count. I told you guys, 2 answers, 2 things will be very hard. 2 questions. All right, still we have Michael. what is the function of a Kubernetes service account token mounted in a pod by default? To allow pods to authenticate to the API server, to store node-level Kubernetes credentials, to provide cluster-wide admin privileges, to establish network policies within users. I think network policy, guys. You know, if you do a describe of that secret, you'll find, you know, service account, right? You'll find something called network. To allow pods to authenticate to the API server. So we got 6 correct. And now we're done. So let's see who got a podium. Number 3, Zaim. Round of applause, guys. Come on. Mustafa. And Michael. All right. So all 3 people, please come to the front of the podium. All right, guys. Zidan. Come on. Let's get a picture, guys. Zidan will join you guys. I'll be the MC for today. Temporary. Yeah, Docker, guys. Docker swags. Cool. So all three of you guys will get Docker swags individually one.
Okay. Docker will give you
Yes.
for the JetBrains.
Yes. So for JetBrains, I mean, they get 2 prizes, yeah, JetBrains and also Docker swags. That's why I asked you guys to play properly. Okay. So yeah. Okay.
Docker swags.
Okay.
Docker swags.
Docker swags. Quite swag.
The Kahoot is for Docker swags.
Okay. Cool.
He will give you the code. The website to.
Yeah.
Okay. This one from the Docker swags.
Yeah, Docker swags.
Cool.
Okay, cool. So yeah, you guys can have a seat. I'll meet you guys shortly.
Okay, congrats to the winners. Okay, so they're collecting their swags. Okay, meanwhile, so we are looking for volunteers. Okay, if you love being a part of SRE Kuala Lumpur, please join us. We are looking for volunteers to help run this SRE Kuala Lumpur from event logistic to content to design. So there's a role for everyone. You can sign up through volunteer form. The link will be, you can just scan the QR code over here and it will lead you to the Google form. So please join us. We are amazing. Are we not? No? Okay. Have you guys finished? Do you guys want to join? No? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So this is our career announcement channel. So if you scan this QR code, it will lead you to the WhatsApp channel. So all the groups are there. You can join any groups you want. Five, 4, 3, 2, 2.5. Done? Okay, so to the next slide. Okay, and also as we wrap up, we would love to hear your thoughts. So please fill up the feedback form before you go. And it really helps us to improve for future meetups. Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you to all the organizers, the speakers, and also all of you guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really hope you gained something today. And let's take a group photo before you guys leave. Thank you. Thank you so much. And see you guys in the next meetup. Come forward. Let's use this background. Is it okay? Okay, come. Fine. Yeah. Please.
You have a stand or something, you should also. I think doesn't have a.